Welcome back to the Antler Studios YouTube. I know we've been off the grid for a little while, but we've been hard at work on our Project Grove Prologue release, which is coming this Saturday. We decided back in October of 2020 that we wanted to finish something that was more polished and releasable than the full game earlier on. This was so we could get feedback from you all who can play it for free, as well as test out features, test out concepts for the full game, and get a better idea of the release calendar for the full project. The original plan was to make a short 30-minute bit of gameplay that embodied most of the concepts that we thought were important to the game, and let everyone play it for free. However, whilst we are still letting everyone play it for free, it's ended up being quite a bit longer, and the development time was definitely longer than we expected, but you know, you live and you learn, and this is that process. The first stage of any project like this, like the Prologue, was to figure out what we wanted to show. We did this by looking at our feature list for the full game and deciding what things we thought were really core to the experience and needed to be shown and tested in this Prologue. We then compared that to a list of things that we thought would be feasible and doable in the time frame that we were looking at. And we looked at these two lists of things that we could show and figured out a narrative and structure that fit in a bunch of them, and basically made a feature list of things that we wanted to show in the Prologue. This sort of Venn diagram system worked really well for us because it meant that we could have a clear focus and not looking at just, oh, we need to show everything in the game, but being able to think, okay, what can we show, what do we want to show, and what's core to the experience. Of course, the other aspect when it came to this Venn diagram of figuring out what we should show is what do we already have built. However, those areas weren't necessary to tell the story we wanted to tell in the Prologue, and it meant that we were just showing content that we didn't need to show, and it wasn't as concise of a product. Of course, a big part of the game is exploration, so we had to have some element of other things that weren't maybe super core to this experience and narrative we were writing for the Prologue, but would reward those players who did go out and explore a bit. So with our feature list written, as well as our loose narrative structure for a mini story that can pull it all together, as well as a planned list of assets that we need to make, we wrote up our backlog list and got on with development. Now, with all the team members focused on their backlog items and getting through the content, things went pretty smooth at this stage. We were implementing new features, polishing up features that were already there, and restructuring the sort of opening of the game to fit this new mini narrative we had written. Now, a lot of these features were easier to implement than others, and some of them caused so many bugs and errors. For example, we overhauled our save and load system because it wasn't good enough, we realized, for a full release. And so that was something that caused many crashes and errors and problems. So it's thinking about those structural features that need to get built. I think this Prologue actually helped a lot for the full project, having those ready and good to go. Some of the other features we built were revamping potion crafting, implementing the journal UI and the journal, fully implementing the quest and narrative system. We did cutscenes, we did animal interactions using the deer and various animals we created, and then a big section was creating some of the set piece gameplay for the little narrative we wrote involving a baby manta and a big mama manta who would fly around and knock you about. And so it was really fun to build one of those because so far we've been focusing on features that went across everything that were just general to the game, whereas making some specific set piece features was a lot of fun, and it was really reinvigorating for us. Now, planning and building these core features took us from October 2020 through to the end of 2020. So by sort of 1st of January, we had these core features in a decent state, and we could call it the alpha of the Prologue. From here, we started splitting our time between polishing and QAing those elements and adding in our secondary elements, such as areas to explore, other mini narratives to discover, voice acting, cutscenes, polishing up the quests and orienteering experience. And this is really the stage where we used friends and family to playtest the game. It was great because we could sit on, Discord or Google Hangouts, and we could watch them and we could see exactly what they did, where they struggled. It wasn't high quantity, but it was really high quality QA testing for us. And up until the sort of end of March, we were polishing up this alpha, adding other features, and building our Prologue, which now very soon is going to be in your hands. I'll save the tragedy and heroics of our QA experience until next time, because I think we've got a lot to unpack there, and it'd be good, I think, to be able to see our failures and our successes, because as you can see, there's a bit of a gap between end of March finishing development on all the features and now in September looking at a release. So looking back at this sort of development cycle and how it went, what we think went well, what we think went badly, and any top tips for people looking to do sort of a demo release, a Prologue release, and how to approach it. In terms of the approach itself, creating the feature list, figuring out our timeline and building it out as we did, I'm really happy with how the approach went. In terms of what I would change, I would try and better understand how long a demo is going to last. We always thought that this demo was going to be 30 minutes, but as soon as we started testing with friends and family, it was 45 minutes plus to an hour and a half of gameplay. So properly understanding how long your demo is going to be and making sure you stick to that timeline in terms of the play experience is, I think, an important factor. In terms of execution, I think we probably overstretched ourselves a bit and tried to do too much, rework too many things, and get too many features in. I'm really happy with how it's turned out now. I think it's really fun, and I'm really excited to see everyone play it. Dreading it a little bit, as I think any game developer is, but I'm really excited. But in terms of our execution, I think it just took a lot longer than we expected because we were overestimating what we could do in the time frame. And speaking of the Prologue release, it's coming out this Saturday. So if you're watching this and it's already out, then go to the link below and give it a play. Or if you like the look of the project in general, make sure you wishlist the full game on Steam as well. It really helps us out and makes us understand sort of the interest and how things are going. And if you want to know more about us and our development process in UE4, some of the things that we implement and use, then make sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and tune in next time for our breakdown of our QA process and the failures and some successes of that process and how we got through it. And other than that, have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.